Hey everybody, welcome back. We're talking about Married at First Sight, and I want you to leave a comment right now, yes or no, if you think that Brennan called Emily into the room later that night so that he could, have his way, because he is seriously giving booty call vibes, and that's why I call him Booty Call Brennan. We'll get to it, but the fact that he was like made it a point to be like separate rooms on camera is giving. I don't want the outside world to know what's happening, but I'm gonna call her later so she can come in and we can rendezvous and we can do what we've been doing off camera the whole time. That's what it's giving. If you guys agree with me, leave a comment in the comment section below. Okay, let's get into it. Oh, I wanted so badly for Chloe and Michael to work out. So the episode begins and it's a recap, right? And Emily's friend is telling her to run for the hills, which I 100% agree with. I understand that Emily has obligations to the program. It's believed that they are fined somewhere between $20,000 and $50,000 if they don't finish the experiment, and or if they divorce but don't continue to show up on camera, because we still need footage, right? This is why Orion and Lauren keep popping up. It's because they need to fulfill their contractual obligations. It's not because we actually want to see them, right? So anyway, we get to the first scene, which is Michael and Chloe on their honeymoon, and they discuss their sleep. And the entire time, Chloe is picking at her fingers. She seems so uncomfortable and out of place. And I don't know how much of this is actually Michael or her just being so accustomed to her own routine, her being an introvert and needing space to decompress. Um, but she looks extremely uncomfortable, and like she just, like, reality hasn't hit her yet. Despite what her body language is saying, Chloe continues to say that she felt more at ease after the conversation, and Michael seems absolutely clueless as to how she's actually feeling. He doesn't seem to be reading her body language very well. He's like laid down in bed like this, fixing his hair, odd, and she's like sit up straight as a board, like very serious. And just, if you watch this part of the episode with their body language alone, it just screams, I'm uncomfortable. It's not about you, it's about me. That's not to say that I don't think she's as attracted to him. I think that her attraction is kind of up and down. But she does say, hey, after our conversation, I bawled my eyes out and I feel better. But she was like, she was just doing what typically what would happen is she would get into a fight with her boyfriend or whatever. And so she was like, this is supposed to be a fight. And it's interesting because if you think about that from a psychological perspective, she was trying to push him away. And this could be seen two ways. On the one hand, this is a natural response for her. She doesn't want too much intimacy. That can be a fear of intimacy that's coming up, but it could also be her subconscious being like, this is not the person you need to be with. And so trying to start a fight with him to maybe see if he will run away. So I thought that was a really interesting thing that she shared, that she was like, oh, this is supposed to be our first fight, because in a healthy situation, a woman who is not accustomed to being treated well will also feel overwhelmed by the amount of compassion and love that Michael is giving. But unfortunately, I don't know that this is the situation for her to have that response correctly. So my inkling is that this is her subconscious saying, she's getting the ick, and this is definitely not the one. She is running away from Michael. And again, like I said, that could be for two reasons. It could be because he's emotionally healthy. He's one of the more grounded men on the show. And it could be just simply because the other men on the show are so boyish and juvenile that he seems more mature, but he is by far one of the more mature men on the show. And so I think she may be running away from him because it's not something she's accustomed to. I'd be very curious if she was with someone who's a little bit more masculine, who still had the same traits as Michael, if she would do the same thing. Because women can do that, and men. They can push away people who are actually good matches because they're accustomed to toxic energy. I think Michael is so desperate for love, and it's really apparent he almost seems like he's trying to assuage her a lot. His awareness, I think, is appealing to Chloe, but I don't think him as a being, she's into. Austin and Becca get into the getting, it's their next scene, and of course Becca in her masculinity is like itching for Austin to say something about sex, and he goes, let's get the biggest room in the house, far away from everybody, and let's work on the things that Dr. Pia suggested. And Becca starts making these like super sexual gestures, and I'm not some like prudish, like you shouldn't do anything in your marriage, but Becca is chasing Austin, and that is just so disgusting to a man. It's repellent. So again, Becca, like Emily, should pull back, lean back, as the experts say, and let Austin come to her. But this was just yet another scene where Becca is begging Austin to be sexual with her, and it's just so plainly obvious that he's just not that interested. He's just not that into her. He very much treats her like a sister, and like, or like a friend that he could be with, but he's not. Like, Becca would be a good option if she was a Christian kind of thing. She's, she's very forceful and forthright, and I don't know that that's appealing to Austin, which is why they're having so many issues. Okay, so after we get that scene, then oh boy, Michael and Chloe go to each other's closets. Michael's closet was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but she does see him wearing, like, they're not skirts, but there's some cultural traditional wear that look like skirts. And you could just see any ounce of attraction that was already there is just absolutely draining from Chloe's eyes. She is absolutely repulsed by this. And I know that there is a newfound appreciation for men who are more in touch with their feminine side, and there's an uprising of men who are just very fluid in the way that they dress. And Chloe is a very classic, almost conservative woman. She seems, and if you watch this episode, you can just see her like, ugh, absolutely not. She wants nothing to do with it, you guys. She wants nothing to do with it. He's got skirts. He's got, a lot of his clothes are very much, gosh, what's the word I'm looking for, you guys? Neither masculine nor feminine. They're like hybrid. So there are things that Chloe could wear too. And I just think that Chloe wants a traditionally masculine man. And this is really apparent when he goes to her house and he tries on her pearls and her earrings. And it's like, you're playing dress up in my closet. That is unattractive. And this is not to say, okay, let me clear something up. Feminine men are not attractive to feminine women. You can be a masculine man and in touch with your feminine side. What that means is you are masculine, but you also have the ability to open up, because femininity is not about outward appearance. So this is where a lot of people get things wrong. They think, oh, he's just being in touch with his feminine side. Why can't he do that? Because that's gross from a woman. I'm sorry. It's disgusting. You could see it in Chloe's eyes. Again, she is absolutely mortified by the fact that he's trying on her pearls and earrings, because femininity, when we talk about masculine and feminine, men have feminine energy, and it's usually apparent when they're being empathetic. Like, the kind of feminine energy that Chloe needs is when Michael is being really thoughtful and compassionate and showing empathy when they're having conversations and really hearing her side of the story. It's not him putting on feminine clothing. That is not appealing. And I think it's so tough because, again, we're living in this world where that is becoming more and more appropriate. And it's almost like, what's wrong with you? Why do you want toxic masculinity? But like, those are not the only two like opposing thoughts, right? Like, there are other things in between there. And seeing Michael really embrace the feminine persona, like outside, and to just be so audacious with his clothing, it seems to be a real turnoff. And that's something that Pastor Cal actually brings up with Chloe and Michael is, she says it, she goes, I would have never chosen him myself. And she's also self-aware enough to know that because she has chosen poorly in the past, the man that she wants may not look like the man that she's chosen in the past because she's attracted to a certain toxic male. So she's wise enough to know that, but she's also wise enough to know that it doesn't mean that he has to be this, right? Let's say that she chose someone who did exhibit toxic masculinity and was verbally abusive and was, arrogant and narcissistic. The healthy thing to do is not then to go choose someone who's on the opposite end. It would be to choose someone who's in the middle, meaning this is a healthy dose of masculine. This is more of a healthy dose of masculine and feminine versus one who's on the other side. So she's wise enough to pick up on that. And she's just trying so hard, you guys, to not say anything bad about Michael. But she's mortified, let alone the fact that she's an introvert. And you guys, I get this with so much in my being. I'm an introvert and I really genuinely need alone time. My husband is starting to realize this too. Like, I am a happier person when I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I do my own workout and I do my whole routine and then I see him for the day. And the same thing with Chloe. She's not getting to decompress. And with someone who has such a front-facing job, and I have a front-facing job as well where I'm talking to people, it can be exhausting to then come home and put on the show. And I think the lights, the camera, the action is a lot for Chloe. She's overwhelmed, let alone the fact that she's like, I'm halfway not attracted to this man because of the way that he dresses. I do think that Chloe likes his personality. I think she appreciates that aspect, but now I'm seeing her, she is really struggling. She's struggling, and I can relate to that. She is not dealing well with Michael being in her space, period, because she's not accustomed to it. I want you to look up the painting that Michael suggested goes in their house. And it was like of something biting the head off and then like the backside of a human being. It was just grotesque. And it was honestly, Michael, even though he's like trying to be eccentric, that to me was low class. It's like, there's a woman in your house and you want her to wake up and look at someone biting someone's head off. Like, it was just so, it was like him with the fork, where I was like, you're almost like faux classy now. It's like, what's that show, Inventing Anna, where you're like, you have to pick up on the subtleties of what someone with class does. It's not just like the way you dress. You have to think about like things that they would do or wouldn't do. And with Michael, it's like he has all the right words, but then he does things like pick up his fork like a caveman or put a painting on a wall that is just absolutely classless. I'm sorry, but that is not something that would be in a home. That belongs in an art museum. That's what I meant to say. So anyway, we get to the jury retreat and Michael and Becca and Austin select rooms. They choose the room that is the furthest away from the house. Then we go to see Brennan and Emily, and they're packing up their stuff. As soon as they walk into the house, Brennan's like, separate rooms? And Emily's like, yep. And she's coming to grips with reality, or maybe she knew the reality, but she was trying to put on a good show for the experts. But like I said in my intro, you guys, I bet 110% Brennan is calling her at night and asking her to come into the room and, or they're rendezvousing at night in the apartment and doing their thing. She is a booty call to Brendan, period. And because that's why she's so attached to him. And you can just see it in the way, even though she's coming to grips with the fact that they're not going to ever be a couple and that they're a friendship, she keeps chasing him. That's what you have to notice. And he's giving her just enough breadcrumbs to keep her on the show. But he's done, and he's using her as a booty call. And I think it's because that's who she showed him to be, right? She explained to him that all the men that she slept with and XYZ, and he's like, okay, that's who you are. I'll take you for that. Yep. Okay. Lauren and Orion, again, they bring them up. I'm really concerned for Lauren. I think part of her wants Orion to want her so that she just hasn't been rejected. Because she says, we haven't spoke since the wedding and I'm disappointed. Girl, why? why are you disappointed that this low tier man doesn't want to talk to you? And I get what she maybe is trying to say, which is, hey, he's gonna come on this trip and act like we're besties, and he hasn't even tried to talk to me. I get it. I get it. But I would just tell him the truth and be like, you're not what I want. But I think I don't know, it just makes me sad that she even wants him to speak with her. And then the way Orion lies at the dinner table and talks about their relationship as if it's, this is classic manipulation. When you can get up in front of people and just put on this face like, oh yeah, we're Lauren and I. And she's like, Lauren and I what? Where? Why are you creating these scenarios and really trying to control the world's perception of him? It is odd to me that he is behaving in this way. And I think it's showing us a little bit more of who he really is. And it's not just that he's trying to put on a good show for the cameras. It's that he wants people to believe I'm genuinely trying and she doesn't want to be a part of it. No, you're trying when the cameras are on. And then when the cameras are gone, you're not. Okay, Michael brings Chloe coffee to help with her morning routine. Again, so sweet, so thoughtful, but then like wants to put a painting up with like the head, you know what I mean? It's just like, he's just missing some things. Chloe does mention that she's never been with a man like Michael. Pastor Cal calls Michael unorthodox, which I thought was friggin' hilarious. Because, yeah, that's exactly what he is. They're vastly different, and Chloe is dancing around like a cat around the porridge, or whatever the phrase is. Like, she's just so sweetly and delicately trying not to say anything off, but it's very weird. And Chloe mentions that she needs physical intimacy, and Pastor Cal's like, it's okay to have sex. And I get what he's trying to do, because what we know about sex on a psychological level is that when you have sex, you actually bond with the person more. Hence Emily and Brennan. But Chloe's not having sex with someone unless she has an emotional connection with him, and she says she's not there yet. So this couple they're estranged already. It has only been like a week. It's so awful. Okay, so the rest of the episode was kind of boring to me. We had some scenes with Claire talking about her and Cameron. We had some scenes with Lauren, them at the dinner table. Emily hurts herself, ATVing. Brennan is there for her like a normal human being. He's like holding her hand, but I think that's just what a normal non-diabolical human would do, is like if someone's injured, you support them. Becca and Austin get into a fight, and I think this is Austin picking a fight because he doesn't want to sleep with Becca. He leaves the room and walks out and sleeps in a different room. So yeah, again, this show is a disaster. It is a straight up disaster, you guys. So that's all I really wanted to talk about with this episode. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next couple weeks. My predictions have now completely changed. I don't think any of the couples are going to work out. And if they do, they're going to break up shortly after the episodes end, or shortly after the decision day, because it's just a mess. It's just a mess. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, leave a comment if you think Brennan is making Emily his booty call. I want to know. Leave a 1 or a 2 in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, comment on this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.